Hello, welcome to my channel, Nightlight Science Stories. Today, we are turning our gaze inward to explore the most complex machine in the known universe, the microscopic universe, journey inside the human body. It is an honor to guide you on this intimate voyage. While we search for wonders in the stars, a galaxy of trillions of living cells is functioning silently right now beneath your skin. Let us shrink down and enter the temple of life. Imagine shrinking down to the size of a photon. The noise of the outside world fades, replaced by the rhythmic thrum of your own heartbeat. This is not just biology. It is a symphony of chemistry and electricity. From the firing of neurons that create your thoughts to the relentless march of white blood cells defending your life, we are about to witness the miracle of existence from the front row. Welcome to the universe within. We begin at the fundamental unit of life, the cell. There are 37 trillion of them in your body, more than there are stars in the Milky Way. Each one is a bustling metropolis, walled off from the chaos outside. In the center sits the nucleus, the glowing command center housing the library of DNA. Around it, worker proteins rush along cytoskeleton highways, carrying cargo to sustain the city. It is a masterpiece of biological engineering. These cells are not static. They are vibrating with energy. The mitochondria, the power plants of the cell, burn fuel to generate ATP, the electricity of life. Without this constant energy production, you would cease to exist in seconds. It is a ceaseless industrial revolution happening on a microscopic scale. Every movement you make, every thought you have, starts here, in these tiny glowing worlds that work in perfect harmony. Deep inside the nucleus, we find the instruction manual for you, DNA. This double helix is a twisted ladder of molecules, 3 billion letters long. If you uncoiled the DNA in your body, it would stretch to the sun and back hundreds of times. It holds the ancient recipe for every protein, every eye color, and every instinct you possess. It is a biological scripture written in the language of 4 letters, A, C, T, and G. This code is ancient, shared with every living thing on Earth. You share 60% of your DNA with a banana and 98% with a chimpanzee. It is a history book of evolution, carrying the scars of ancient viruses and the triumphs of survival. This fragile molecule is the only reason we exist, replicating itself with astonishing precision billions of times a day. It is the thread that connects the past to the future, woven into the very fabric of your being. We travel now to the crown jewel of evolution, the human brain. It is a jelly-like mass weighing only 3 pounds, yet it contains the entire universe of your consciousness. Here, 86 billion neurons form a web more complex than the cosmic internet. Every thought, memory, and dream is a spark of electricity zipping across these synapses. It is a thunderstorm of information that never sleeps, creating the reality you perceive right now. These electrical signals travel at speeds of up to 270 miles per hour. The brain consumes 20% of your body's energy, despite its small size. It is the only object in the universe capable of studying itself. As you listen to these words, your neurons are physically rewiring themselves to store this new information. You are changing moment by moment. It is the seat of the soul, a mysterious quantum computer made of flesh and electricity. Let us look through the window of the soul. The eye. It is a biological camera of immense sophistication. Light photons enter through the pupil, focused by the lens under the retina at the back. The retina is lined with millions of rods and cones that convert light into electrical signals. It captures the beauty of a sunset or the face of a loved one and transmits it to the brain instantly. It is our primary connection to the physical world. The iris, the colorful ring, is a muscle that controls the light intake, unique to every individual like a fingerprint. But the eye has a flaw. The optic nerve creates a blind spot that your brain constantly fills in with artificial data. You are hallucinating a small part of your vision every second. It reminds us that what we see is not always raw reality, but a carefully constructed interpretation created by our minds to help us navigate the dark. We descend to the chest to witness the engine of life, the heart. It is a tireless muscle, the size of a fist, beating 100,000 times a day without rest. It pumps the red river of blood through 60,000 miles of vessels, enough to wrap around the earth twice. It is a rhythmic drum that sets the tempo for your existence, pushing vital nutrients to the furthest frontiers of your toes and fingertips with immense pressure. But the heart is more than a pump. It has its own electrical system. A cluster of cells generates a spark that triggers every beat, independent of the brain. Ancient cultures believed it was the seat of emotion, and in a way, they were right. Stress and love physically alter its rhythm. It is the hardest working machine in nature, starting before you are born and stopping only when you leave this world. Inside the vessels flows the river of life. Red blood cells are the cargo ships of the body, shaped like donuts to maximize surface area. They have a single mission: to carry oxygen from the lungs to the hungry cells. They are so specialized that they eject their own nucleus to make more room for hemoglobin. This means they cannot divide or repair themselves. They live fast and die young, surviving only about 120 days. The red color comes from iron, the same element found in the core of dying stars and the rust on Mars. In a poetic sense, your blood is liquid stardust. Every second, your body produces 2 million new red blood cells to replace the fallen ones. It is a logistical miracle, ensuring that every part of you, from your brain to your muscles, receives the breath of life it needs to function in this gravity well. But this river is also a battlefield. Enter the white blood cells, the guardians of the realm. They are the soldiers of your immune system, constantly patrolling for invaders like viruses and bacteria. When an enemy is spotted, they launch a coordinated attack. Some, like the macrophages, are tanks that swallow enemies whole. Others, like B cells, fire chemical missiles called antibodies to tag the invaders for destruction. This war never ends. Right now, a skirmish is happening in your throat or on your skin without you even knowing it. The immune system has a memory. Once it defeats a specific enemy, it keeps a file on it forever. This is how vaccines work, training the army before the real war begins. It is a sophisticated defense network that distinguishes self from non-self, preserving the integrity of your biological borders. We take a breath and enter the lungs. They look like two giant glowing trees made of sponge. The air travels down the windpipe, branching into smaller and smaller tubes until it reaches the alveoli. These are millions of tiny air sacs where the magic happens. Here, oxygen crosses a barrier thinner than a sheet of paper to enter the blood, while carbon dioxide leaves. It is the primary exchange point with the outside world. If you flattened out all the alveoli in your lungs, they would cover the size of a tennis court. This massive surface area is packed inside your chest to maximize efficiency. Breathing is the only vital function you can control consciously, yet it continues automatically when you sleep. It is the rhythm of life, the constant intake of the atmosphere that fuels the metabolic fires burning in every single one of your cells. Rising to the surface, we reach the skin, the largest organ of the body. Under a microscope, it looks like an alien planet, a rugged landscape of ridges, valleys, and forests of hair. It is your spacesuit, protecting you from radiation, dehydration, and infection. It is waterproof, self-repairing, and highly sensitive. Dead skin cells are constantly flaking off, creating a layer of dust that trails behind you wherever you go. Beneath the surface lies a network of sensors that allow you to feel the world. You have different receptors for heat, cold, pressure, and pain. The skin is also a temperature regulator, releasing sweat to cool you down like a biological air conditioner. It is the boundary between you and everything else. a dynamic shield that is constantly renewing itself, replacing every single cell roughly every month. Deep inside lies the architecture of your body, the skeleton. It is a framework of 206 bones that defies gravity. Pound for pound, bone is stronger than steel and concrete, yet it is light enough to allow for agile movement. It is not dead rock. It is living tissue. Your skeleton is constantly being broken down and rebuilt by specialized cells. You effectively get a brand new skeleton every 10 years. The bones are also factories. Deep inside the hollow marrow, stem cells are busy producing the blood cells we saw earlier. The rib cage acts as a fortress protecting the heart and lungs, while the skull is the helmet for the brain. Without this internal cathedral, we would be shapeless puddles on the floor. It gives us our form, our height, and the leverage we need to manipulate the world around us. Draped over the bones are the layers of muscle. These are the engines of movement. Thousands of fibers bundled together like cables work by contracting, pulling on the bones to create motion. They can only pull, never push, which is why they work in pairs. To bend your arm, the bicep contracts. To straighten it, the tricep takes over. It is a system of pulleys and levers controlled by electrical signals from the brain. The face alone has 43 muscles, allowing for the incredible range of human emotion, from a subtle smile to a scream of terror. The strongest muscle based on weight is the masseter in your jaw, capable of closing your teeth with 200 pounds of force. Muscles are adaptable. If you use them, they grow stronger and larger. They are the visible expression of your will, translating thought into physical action. We slide down the esophagus into the stomach, a biological cauldron. Here, food is met with a bath of hydrochloric acid, one of the most corrosive substances in nature. It is strong enough to dissolve metal, yet your stomach contains it safely. This acid breaks down solid matter into a liquid soup called chyme, unlocking the energy stored in your meals. The stomach walls churn physically to mix this dangerous cocktail. To prevent digesting itself, the stomach is lined with a thick layer of mucus. This lining must be regenerated rapidly. Otherwise, the acid would burn a hole right through you. It is a hostile environment where few bacteria can survive. This is the first step in the alchemy of digestion, turning a sandwich into the raw materials needed to build new skin, bone, and brain cells. Entering the intestines, we discover a shocking truth. You are not alone. Your gut is home to trillions of bacteria, fungi, and viruses known as the microbiome. In fact, there are more bacterial cells in your body than human cells. You are more them than you. This is not an infection, it is a partnership. These microscopic aliens help you digest food, produce vitamins, and even train your immune system. Recent science suggests they also talk to your brain. The gut-brain axis means these bacteria can influence your mood, anxiety, and cravings. You are a walking ecosystem, a host planet for a diverse population of flora. Maintaining this garden is crucial for health. It changes the definition of an individual. We are not solitary beings, but vast, walking colonies of cooperative life forms. Finally, we look back at the beginning, conception. It starts with the greatest race in history, where millions of competitors vie for a single goal. When one sperm cell breaches the wall of the egg, a chemical shield locks all others out. At that precise moment, a flash of zinc sparks occurs. Two half-codes of DNA merge to create a complete, unique genetic blueprint that has never existed before and will never exist again. This single cell, the zygote, begins to divide. One becomes two, two become four. It folds and specializes, becoming a heart, a brain, a finger. It is a self-assembling origami of infinite complexity. Every person you have ever met, every genius and every artist, started as this single speck of potential. It is the ultimate miracle of the universe within, the spark that ignites the flame of a human life. We arrive at the largest internal organ, the liver. Think of it as a futuristic chemical refinery. It performs over 500 essential functions, from filtering toxins out of your blood to producing bile for digestion. It stores energy like a battery in the form of glycogen, ready to release it when you need a boost. Every drop of blood from your digestive system passes through this checkpoint before traveling to the rest of the body. The liver has a superpower, regeneration. It is the only organ that can regrow itself. You can lose up to 75% of your liver, and it will grow back to its full size within weeks. This resilience is crucial because it is the body's primary shield against poisons. It sacrifices its own cells to protect you from alcohol, drugs, and metabolic waste, silently working in the background to keep your blood pure and balanced. Next, we visit the twin filtration plants, the kidneys. Inside each kidney are 1 million microscopic filtering units called nephrons. They constantly sift through your blood, removing waste and excess water to create urine. Remarkably, they filter your entire blood volume 60 times a day. They are the master chemists of the blood, strictly regulating salt, potassium, and acid levels to ensure your cells can survive. The kidneys are all about balance. If you are dehydrated, they conserve water. If you drink too much, they flush it out. They also produce hormones that control your blood pressure and tell your bones to make more red blood cells. Without them, toxic waste would build up in your system within days. They are sophisticated, high-pressure sieves that turn the chaos of your diet into the perfect chemistry of your blood. How do we hear? We enter the inner ear, specifically the cochlea, a spiral bone shaped like a snail shell. It is filled with fluid and lined with thousands of tiny, sensitive hairs. When sound waves hit the eardrum, they create ripples in this fluid. These ripples cause the hairs to dance. High-pitched sounds move the hairs at the entrance, while deep bass notes travel to the center. It is a biological piano playing the music of the world. These tiny hairs convert mechanical movement into electrical signals sent to the brain, but they are fragile. Loud noises can shear them off, and they do not grow back, leading to hearing loss. The inner ear also houses the vestibular system, 3 fluid-filled loops that act as your gyroscope. They tell you which way is up and help you keep your balance. It is a marvel of engineering that anchors you in both sound and space. Deep inside the nose lies the olfactory epithelium, a patch of tissue containing millions of receptor neurons. Unlike other senses, these neurons connect directly to the brain's limbic system, the seat of emotion and memory. This is why a specific smell, like rain or fresh bread, can instantly trigger a vivid childhood memory. Scent is the most primal sense, a chemical language that bypasses logic and hits you straight in the heart. Humans can distinguish over 1 trillion different scents. These receptors are constantly regenerating, replacing themselves every few weeks. In the animal kingdom, this sense is a superpower for survival. But even in humans, it plays a subconscious role in choosing the mate through pheromones. We are chemical detectors, constantly sampling the air to understand the invisible emotional landscape of our environment. Suddenly, danger appears. The adrenal glands, sitting atop the kidneys, release a flood of adrenaline. This is the fight or flight response. In an instant, your heart rate skyrockets, pupils dilate to see better, and blood is diverted from digestion to your muscles. You become temporarily superhuman. Pain is suppressed, and time seems to slow down as your brain processes information at hyperspeed. This ancient survival mechanism was designed to help us escape lions, but today it is triggered by traffic jams and emails. Chronic activation of this stress system is toxic, but in short bursts, it saves lives. There are stories of mothers lifting cars to save their children. That is the power of adrenaline. It unlocks the body's hidden reserves, pushing the machine far beyond its normal safety limits for a few vital seconds. In the deep recesses of your bone marrow hide the master builders, stem cells. These are shapeshifters. Unlike a skin cell that stays a skin cell, a stem cell has the magical ability to turn into any type of cell the body needs. They are the reserve army of regeneration. If you break a bone or tear a muscle, stem cells rush to the site, differentiate, and begin the repairs. They are the fountain of youth within you. Scientists are studying them to cure diseases, hoping to grow new organs or repair damaged spinal cords. In the early embryo, every cell is a stem cell, full of infinite potential. As we age, their numbers decline, which is why we heal slower. They represent the raw potential of life, a reminder that we are built from flexible, adaptive clay that is constantly remodeling itself in response to the world. Why do we sleep? For years, it was a mystery. Now we know it is for brainwashing. During deep sleep, the glymphatic system kicks in. Your brain cells actually shrink, opening up gaps that allow cerebrospinal fluid to wash through the tissue like a detergent. This flow clears out toxic waste products that build up during the day, including plaques associated with Alzheimer's disease. Sleep is literally a cleaning cycle. Without this nightly wash, your brain becomes clogged with toxins, leading to hallucinations and death. Sleep is not a passive shutdown. It is an active metabolic maintenance period. It is also when memories are consolidated, moving from short-term to long-term storage. You wake up refreshed, not just because you rested, but because you have been physically cleansed and mentally reorganized for a new day. Why do we age? The answer lies at the tips of our chromosomes, in structures called telomeres. Think of them like the plastic caps on the ends of shoelaces. They protect your DNA, but every time a cell divides, the telomeres get a little shorter. Eventually, they become too short to protect the DNA, and the cell stops dividing and becomes senescent or zombie-like. This accumulation of old cells is what we call aging. This biological clock is ticking in every cell. Stress, smoking, and poor diet can burn these fuses faster. However, an enzyme called telomerase can rebuild them. Some animals, like lobsters, have active telomerase and don't age like we do. Understanding this mechanism is the holy grail of longevity research. We are programmed to fade, but science is asking if we can rewind the clock. Running down your back is the information superhighway, the spinal cord. Protected by the armored column of vertebrae, it connects the brain to the rest of the body. It is a bundle of nerve fibers as thick as your finger. It handles reflexes like pulling your hand away from a hot stove before the signal even reaches your brain. Your body reacts to danger faster than you can consciously think about it. If this cord is severed, the communication is broken, leaving the body paralyzed even though the limbs are healthy. It is the main trunk of the nervous system tree. Signals travel up and down this road at lightning speeds, coordinating everything from your heartbeat to your footsteps. It represents the fragility of our connection to ourselves, a single point of failure that controls the entire machine. We used to think genes were destiny, but epigenetics proves otherwise. Imagine your DNA as a piano keyboard. The keys are fixed, but the music you play can change. Chemical markers can attach to your DNA and switch genes on or off without changing the code itself. Your diet, stress, and environment pull these switches. Astonishingly, some of these changes can be passed down to your children and grandchildren. This means the trauma or famine your grandmother experienced could affect your health today. It is a biological memory that spans generations, but it is also empowering. Healthy choices you make now can improve the genetic expression of your future children. You are not just a carrier of code. You are an active editor of your own biology, shaping the legacy of your lineage through the way you live your life. Resting in your neck is a butterfly-shaped organ, the thyroid. Though small, it is the master regulator of your metabolism. It releases hormones that travel to every cell in your body, telling them how fast to burn energy. It controls your weight, your body temperature, and even how fast your heart beats. It is the thermostat of the biological machine, constantly adjusting the fire of life to keep it burning at the perfect rate. When this butterfly flutters too fast, hyperthyroidism, you burn up, losing weight and shaking with energy. When it is too slow, you freeze and tire. It requires iodine to function, an element rare in nature, but essential for our survival. This connection shows how our internal health is tied to the geology of the earth. A tiny gland creates the chemical rhythm that determines whether we race through life or crawl. Deep behind the stomach lies the pancreas. It plays a double game, digestion and sugar control. Its most famous product is insulin. Think of insulin as a magical key. When you eat, sugar floods your blood. Insulin travels to your cells and unlocks the door, allowing the sugar to enter and be used for energy. Without this key, the sugar stays in the blood, turning thick and toxic while your cells starve in the midst of plenty. This delicate balance is the difference between health and diabetes. The pancreas creates this hormone in specific clusters called the islets of Langerhans, looking like tiny islands in a sea of tissue. It constantly tastes your blood, adjusting insulin levels minute by minute. It is a precise chemical automation system that manages the fuel supply for the entire body, ensuring the engine never stalls or floods. The hardest substance your body can produce is enamel, the coating of your teeth. It is harder than steel and stronger than bone, designed to crush rock-hard foods. Under a microscope, it looks like a landscape of woven crystal rods. Unlike bone, enamel is not living tissue. Once it is created, the cells that made it die. This means your body cannot repair chipped enamel. It is a shield that must last a lifetime. Beneath this diamond-hard shell lies the dentin and the living pulp, filled with nerves. This is why a toothache is so agonizing. It is a breach in the fortress protecting a raw nerve. Teeth are the only part of the skeletal system that is visible. They are your personal tools of destruction, biological chisels and grinders that begin the process of digestion, surviving thousands of pounds of pressure every day. Digestion doesn't start in the stomach. It starts in the mouth with saliva. You produce enough spit in a lifetime to fill 2 swimming pools. This liquid is not just water. It is a cocktail of enzymes, antibodies, and painkillers. An enzyme called amylase immediately begins breaking down complex starches into simple sugars. That is why bread starts to taste sweet if you chew it long enough. You are turning it into sugar right in your mouth. Saliva is also the guardian of the teeth, washing away acid and repairing the enamel with minerals. Without it, your teeth would rot away, and you couldn't taste anything. Taste buds only work when food is dissolved in liquid. It is the unsung hero of the body, a constant stream that cleans, digests, and defends the gateway to your internal world, acting as a chemical lubricant for life. Parallel to your blood vessels runs a second, secret network, the lymphatic system. If blood is the supply chain, lymph is the sewage and defense system. It collects the fluid that leaks out of your blood vessels, filters it through lymph nodes, and returns it to the circulation. These nodes are checkpoints filled with police cells. When you get sick, your glands swell because these police stations are full of arrested viruses. Unlike the heart, the lymphatic system has no pump. It relies on the movement of your muscles to push the fluid around. This is why moving your body is so important. Being sedentary literally allows your waste to stagnate. It is a silent, passive river that cleanses your tissues and transports fats. It works in the shadows, ensuring that the fluid balance of your inner ocean remains perfect. What holds you together? The answer is collagen. It is the most abundant protein in the body, acting as the biological glue. It forms a woven mesh that gives structure to your skin, tendons, and bones. Without it, you would literally fall apart. In youth, this mesh is tightly organized, keeping skin smooth. As we age, the mesh breaks down and sags, creating wrinkles. It is the fabric of our physical form. Vitamin C is essential for weaving this fabric. Without it, sailors developed scurvy, their collagen fell apart, and their old wounds reopened. Collagen is incredibly strong. A gram of some types is stronger than a gram of steel. It provides the tensile strength that allows your tendons to pull heavy loads without snapping. It is the silent fibrous scaffolding that maintains the integrity of the human temple. Tucked under your rib cage is the spleen, the misunderstood organ. It acts as a high-quality blood filter. It inspects every red blood cell passing through. If a cell is old, damaged, or misshapen, the spleen destroys it and recycles the iron. It is the recycling center of the body, but it is also a bank. It holds a reserve of emergency blood. If you are injured, the spleen contracts, dumping this extra blood into your system to keep you alive. While you can live without it, having a spleen is a major advantage. It fights bacteria like pneumonia and meningitis. In ancient times, it was thought to be the source of anger, hence venting your spleen. Today we know it as a quiet guardian, constantly cleaning the blood and standing ready to save you from blood loss shock. It is a dedicated sentinel watching over the river of life. You are a walking furnace. Your body maintains a constant temperature of roughly 37 degrees Celsius, 98.6 F, regardless of the weather outside. This heat is a byproduct of metabolism, the chemical burning of food in your cells. To keep this fire controlled, your body balances heat production with heat loss. When you are cold, you shiver, your muscles vibrate to generate friction heat. When you are hot, you sweat, using evaporation to cool down. Fever is a fascinating mechanism. Your body intentionally turns up the thermostat to cook invading viruses, which cannot survive at higher temperatures. It is a dangerous gamble, as too much heat can kill your own cells too. This thermal regulation is a constant balancing act, creating a narrow window of temperature where the complex chemistry of life is possible. Humans are the only animals that cry from emotion. Under a microscope, tears look like aerial maps of strange lands. Interestingly, emotional tears have a different chemical composition than tears caused by an onion. They contain natural painkillers and stress hormones. Crying is literally a way for the body to flush out chemical stress. It is a physical release valve for emotional pressure. Tears also serve a social signal, blurring our vision and making us vulnerable, which invites help from others. Biologically, they keep the eye moist and kill bacteria with an enzyme called lysozyme. Whether born of grief, joy, or pain, tears are a unique intersection of biology and psychology, a liquid language that expresses what words cannot. They cleanse the windows of the soul and soothe the mind. How do we understand each other? Enter mirror neurons. When you watch someone smile or see them in pain, specific neurons in your brain fire as if you were smiling or feeling pain yourself. You are literally simulating their experience in your own mind. This is the biological basis of empathy. It allows us to learn by watching and to feel compassion. We are hardwired to connect. This discovery shattered the idea that we are isolated minds. We are connected by a wireless neural network. When you watch a movie and cry, your mirror neurons are tricking you into feeling the character's loss. Civilization is built on this neural circuitry. It allows us to predict intentions, share culture, and care for one another. It is the spark of humanity that bridges the gap between I and you. Pain is an unpleasant teacher, but it is essential for survival. It is the body's alarm system. When you touch a hot stove, nociceptors, pain nerves, fire an electrical message at 100 meters per second. This signal screams stop to your brain. Without pain, we would destroy ourselves, unaware of broken bones or burns. It is the guardian angel that forces us to protect the temple of the body from damage. Sometimes the system glitches. In phantom limb pain, people who have lost an arm or leg still feel excruciating pain in the missing limb. The brain, confused by the lack of signals, hallucinates pain to make sense of the silence. It shows that pain is constructed in the mind, not just the body. It is a ghost in the machine, a haunting reminder of the neural map that persists even when the physical territory is gone. Sticking out of your mouth is a chemical laboratory, the tongue. It is covered in thousands of bumps called papillae, which house your taste buds. These sensors detect 5 primary codes: sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and umami. This isn't just for enjoyment, it is an evolutionary scanner. Sweet means energy, safe, while bitter often means poison, danger. Your tongue is the gatekeeper, deciding what is allowed to enter the fortress. Taste is a team sport played with the nose. Without smell, an apple and a potato taste almost the same. But taste buds also die and regenerate every 2 weeks. This is why your favorite foods can change over time. As you age, you lose taste buds, which is why children are sensitive to bitter vegetables, while adults enjoy strong coffee. It is a dynamic sense that matures along with you, painting the flavor of your life. Inside your throat sits a biological instrument, the larynx or voice box. 2 folds of tissue, the vocal cords, vibrate like guitar strings when air passes through them. By tightening or loosening these cords, you change the pitch. It is the only instrument that can articulate words, scream in anger, or sing an opera. This mechanism allows us to transfer thoughts from one brain to another through the medium of vibrating air. Your voice is as unique as a fingerprint. The shape of your throat, nose, and mouth colors the sound, creating a signature frequency. Interestingly, you hear your own voice differently than everyone else because you hear it through the vibration of your own skull bones, which adds bass. That is why hearing a recording of your own voice often sounds strange and high-pitched to you. It is the sound of your identity broadcasting to the world. Look at your fingertips. The swirling ridges there are unique in the history of the universe. Even identical twins who share the same DNA have different fingerprints. These patterns are formed in the womb by the pressure of the amniotic fluid and the fetus touching the walls of the uterus. They are a map of your earliest movements before you were born. Their primary function is not identification, but grip, creating friction to hold objects. We leave these chemical signatures on everything we touch. A fingerprint is composed of sweat, oil, and salt. It is an unavoidable trail of your existence. In a world of digital passwords, your biological key remains the most secure. It is a reminder that nature values variation. In the billions of humans who have walked the earth, nature has never repeated this specific design. You are truly a one-of-a-kind creation. Deep in the brain lies the hippocampus, named after the Greek word for seahorse because of its shape. This is the librarian of your mind. It takes fleeting moments and converts them into long-term memories. Without it, you would live in it eternal now, unable to learn or remember who you are. It weaves together sights, smells, and emotions into a cohesive story of your past, indexing the chapters of your life. It is one of the few places in the brain where new neurons can grow, a process called neurogenesis, but it is fragile. It is often the first area damaged by Alzheimer's. The famous patient, HM, who had his hippocampus removed, could remember his childhood, but could not form a single new memory for the rest of his life. He lived the same day for decades. It proves that our identity is anchored in this tiny, seahorse-shaped structure. Next to the memory center sits the amygdala, the almond-shaped seat of fear. It is the watchdog of the brain. Before you can consciously process a threat, the amygdala has already reacted, freezing your muscles or preparing you to run. It bypasses logic to ensure survival. It is the reason you jump when a door slams. It stores emotional trauma, keeping a record of everything that has ever hurt you to prevent it from happening again. While essential, an overactive amygdala leads to anxiety and PTSD. It creates false alarms, seeing tigers where there are only shadows. Humans are unique because we can use our frontal cortex to calm this lizard brain down, telling ourselves it is only a movie. It is a constant tug of war between ancient instinct and modern reason, a battle for control over your own emotional state. Blushing is the most peculiar human expression. We are the only species that blushes. When you are embarrassed or ashamed, your adrenaline causes the tiny capillaries in your cheeks to dilate, flooding the skin with blood. It is an involuntary, honest signal. You cannot fake a blush, and you cannot stop one. It is a billboard advertising your internal emotional state to the tribe. Evolutionarily, this is a social glue. It signals an apology or submission, showing others that you care about social rules and regret breaking them. People who blush are often viewed as more trustworthy and empathetic. It is a paradox. The desire to hide your embarrassment physically reveals it. It is your body betraying your mind to save your social standing, a mechanism of pure, uncontrollable honesty. When a bone breaks, the body initiates a remarkable construction project. First, a blood clot forms to seal the site. Then, a soft callus made of cartilage bridges the gap. Finally, specialized cells called osteoblasts lay down hard bone, turning the soft patch into solid rock. In many cases, the healed section becomes stronger and thicker than the original bone. It is the philosophy of what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. This process takes weeks, orchestrated by chemical signals, but bones need gravity and pressure to stay strong. Astronauts in space lose bone density rapidly because their skeletons don't have to work against gravity. Your body is ruthless with efficiency. If you don't use it, you lose it. Your skeleton is a use-dependent structure, constantly adapting to the loads you carry, rewarding effort with strength. For years, doctors thought the appendix was a useless remnant of evolution, a ticking time bomb waiting to burst. But nature rarely wastes space. Recent theories suggest the appendix is a safe house for good bacteria. If you get a severe stomach illness that flushes out your gut microbiome, the appendix releases its stored reserve of healthy bacteria to repopulate your intestines. It is a biological reboot backup drive. This explains why it persists in humans despite the risk of appendicitis. In modern times, with clean water and antibiotics, we rely on it less, which might be why it gets infected. It is a relic of a dirtier past when gut infections were lethal. It reminds us that our bodies are historical documents, full of features that tell the story of how our ancestors survived the harsh conditions of the primitive world. Have you ever felt that you have lived a moment before? This is déjà vu, French for already seen. It feels like a psychic premonition, but it is likely a brain glitch. One theory is a mismatch in processing speed. Your sensory input arrives at the memory center a split second before it hits your conscious mind. Your brain flags it as a memory because technically it just processed it a millisecond ago. It is a short circuit between perception and memory. Another theory suggests it is a file retrieval error, where a current situation is similar enough to a past memory to trigger a false match. Whatever the cause, it is a spooky reminder that our perception of time is constructed by the brain. It is a momentary crack in the illusion of continuity, leaving us with the eerie feeling of being a time traveler in our own lives. The most haunting mystery in medicine is the placebo effect. If you believe a sugar pill is medicine, your body can sometimes heal itself. Your brain releases its own painkillers and immune boosters simply because it expects to get better. This proves that the mind and body are not separate. They are deeply entangled. Your beliefs are biological commands. The pharmacy you need is often already inside your head, waiting for the right key to unlock it. This effect works even when people know they are taking the placebo. It implies that the ritual of care, seeing a doctor, taking the pill, triggers ancient healing mechanisms. Conversely, the nocebo effect exists. If you believe something will hurt you, it can physically cause pain or illness. We are the only species that can think ourselves sick or think ourselves well. It is a testament to the staggering power of human consciousness over physical matter. Wandering from your brainstem to your abdomen is the vagus nerve. It is the superhighway of the rest and digest system. It touches your heart, lungs, and stomach. It is responsible for that gut feeling you get when something is wrong. When you practice deep breathing or meditation, you are physically stimulating this nerve to slow your heart rate and lower anxiety. It is the physical brake pedal for your stress system. Scientists are now using vagus nerve stimulation to treat depression and epilepsy. It shows that the body is a two-way street. The brain talks to the organs, but the organs also talk back to the brain. Your stomach's distress can cause anxiety, and your heart's calm can bring peace of mind. Mastering this nerve is the secret to controlling the physiological state of your own avatar, bridging the gap between involuntary reflex and conscious control. You are a creature of light, literally. Humans exhibit bioluminescence. We glow in the dark. Chemical reactions in our cells release tiny amounts of light, mostly from our cheeks, forehead, and neck. The light is 1,000 times weaker than the human eye can see, but sensitive cameras can detect it. You shine brightest in the late afternoon and dimmest at night. We are walking, breathing light bulbs, radiating energy into the void. This glow is a byproduct of free radicals reacting with fats in the body. It connects us to the fireflies and the deep-sea jellyfish we admire. We often speak of people having a glow or an aura, and scientifically, they do. We are not solid, dark matter. We are energetic beings constantly emitting photons. If our eyes were more sensitive, a crowd of people would look like a shimmering field of candles flickering in the darkness. Kissing feels romantic, but biologically, it is a data exchange. During a 10-second kiss, you transfer about 80 million bacteria to your partner. This isn't just gross, it is useful. You are sampling each other's immune systems. Your body subconsciously analyzes the saliva to see if your partner is a good genetic match. We are tasting the compatibility of our DNA. It is a chemical interview disguised as passion. Kissing also releases a cocktail of hormones: dopamine for pleasure, oxytocin for bonding, and serotonin for mood. It lowers cortisol, reducing stress. Evolutionarily, it might have started as a way to feed infants mouth to mouth, but it evolved into a complex social bonding tool. It binds two separate biological universes together, synchronizing their heartbeats and breathing patterns into a shared rhythm of life. Hidden deep in the brain is a thin sheet of neurons called the claustrum. Some scientists believe this is the seat of consciousness, the conductor of the orchestra. It connects to almost every other part of the cortex. When researchers electrically stimulated this area in a patient, she instantly lost consciousness, staring blankly until the current stopped. It might be the on-off switch for the soul. This tiny structure integrates all your senses, sight, sound, tulka, into a single unified experience. Without it, you might hear a word and see a face, but you wouldn't realize they belong to the same person. It binds the fragmented data of the brain into the smooth movie of reality playing in your head. It is perhaps the most critical component of what makes you, the hardware that runs the software of self-awareness. Zoom in past the cells, past the DNA, to the atoms themselves. Here lies a shocking truth. You are 99.99% empty space. If you remove the empty space from the atoms of all 8 billion people on Earth, the entire human race would fit inside the volume of a sugar cube. We feel solid because of the electromagnetic forces keeping the nuclei apart, like magnets repelling each other. You are a ghost made of force fields. This means you never truly touch anything. When you sit on a chair, the electrons in your body are hovering nanometers above the electrons of the chair. You are floating. This emptiness is not void. It is filled with quantum potential, particles popping in and out of existence. We are not made of hard stuff. We are made of energy and vibration, held together by the laws of physics. We are more song than statue. Where did your body come from? The hydrogen in the water of your cells was created in the Big Bang. The carbon in your muscles and the iron in your blood were forged in the cores of giant stars that exploded billions of years ago. You are literally made of stardust. The universe had to die and be reborn multiple times to create the heavy elements necessary for your existence. You are the universe taking physical form. This is not just a poetic metaphor. It is a literal fact of astrophysics. The atoms in your left hand might have come from a different star than the atoms in your right hand. We are the mechanism by which the universe knows itself. Looking up at the night sky is not looking away. It is looking at your family album. We are ancient, cosmic matter that has woken up for a brief moment to wonder at its own origins. One day, the machine will stop. But in physics, energy is never lost, only transformed. When we die, our atoms do not disappear. They return to the earth to become grass, trees, and new life. The carbon that makes up your brain today could one day be part of a flower or a butterfly. We are on loan from the biosphere, temporary patterns in an eternal flow of matter. Death is not an end, but a recycling. This cycle connects us to the dinosaurs and the ancient forests. We are eating the atoms of the past. Accepting this cycle brings peace. We are like waves in the ocean. The wave rises, has a shape and a name for a moment, and then crashes back into the water. The wave is gone, but the water remains. We are the water. Our separation from the rest of nature is an illusion of consciousness that dissolves when we return to the source. What is the future of the human body? Evolution has not stopped. We are still changing. But the next step might not be biological. It might be technological. We are already merging with machines, pacemakers, cochlear implants, and smartphones that act as external memories. Soon, we might interface our brains directly with the cloud, expanding our intelligence and senses beyond biological limits. We are becoming a new species. This transhumanism brings questions. If you replace your heart with a pump and your eyes with cameras, are you still human? Perhaps humanity is not defined by flesh and bone, but by the spark of curiosity and emotion. We are the only species capable of directing our own evolution. We are taking the chisel from nature's hand and beginning to sculpt our own destiny, transforming the human body into a vessel for the stars. Let's end with a simple mystery, the yawn. Why do we do it? Even reading the word yawn might make you want to yawn right now. It is highly contagious. Theories range from cooling the brain to waking us up. But the contagious nature suggests it is a social signal, a way for the tribe to synchronize their sleep cycles. It connects us subconsciously to everyone around us, even to our pets. Yawning is a reminder that we are not independent machines. We are deeply influenced by the behavior of others. It activates the empathy centers of the brain. Psychopaths are less likely to catch a yawn. It is a primitive, shared reflex that predates language, a silent nod that says, "I am tired, and I see that you are too." It bonds the group together in shared vulnerability and rest. In the center of your body is a scar, the navel. It is the mark of your origin, where you were physically connected to your mother. It reminds us that we did not just appear in this world. We grew out of it. For 9 months, you were an aquatic creature, breathing liquid and fed by a cord. Your belly button is the knot that tied you to the chain of generations stretching back to the first cell. It is a center of gravity, physically, and spiritually. In many cultures, the gut is the center of energy. It represents our dependence on others. No human survives alone. We are born from connection, we live through connection, and we survive by depending on the web of life around us. The scar on your stomach is a permanent reminder that independence is an illusion. We are all fruit from the same tree of life. Take a deep breath. The air you just inhaled contains molecules that were once breathed by Einstein, Cleopatra, and the first humans. The atmosphere is a shared lung. We are constantly exchanging atoms with every other living thing on the planet. The oxygen you breathe was made by plankton. The carbon dioxide you exhale feeds the trees. It is a continuous, invisible dance of reciprocity. This breath is the rhythm of the present moment. It anchors you in the now. While your mind worries about the future or regrets the past, your body is always here, always breathing. It is the most vital function, yet the one we ignore the most. To breathe is to say yes to life one more time. It is the bridge between the internal universe and the external world, crossing the border 20,000 times a day. As we conclude our journey, look at your hand one last time. It is a biological miracle, a tool capable of wielding a hammer or painting a masterpiece. It is made of atoms forged in stars, energized by mitochondria, and guided by a brain more complex than any computer. You are a universe wrapped in skin. You are a galaxy of cells experiencing itself. The wonder is not just out there in space. It is right here, sitting in your chair. We often take this machine for granted, criticizing its flaws, but your body fights for you every second. It repairs your wounds, fights off billions of viruses, and translates the energy of the sun into thoughts and dreams. It is the most loyal friend you will ever have. Treat it with awe, treat it with kindness. It is your spaceship for this incredible journey through reality. We have traveled from the microscopic cities of the cell to the electrical storms of the brain. We have seen the chemical factories of the liver and the mechanical power of the heart. We have explored the mysteries of memory, the power of immunity, and the cosmic origins of our atoms. The human body is not just a biological object. It is a masterpiece of engineering, art, and history combined. This journey reveals that there is no ordinary life. To be alive is to be the result of billions of years of success. Every heartbeat is a victory. Every breath is a gift. The universe within is just as vast, just as dangerous, and just as beautiful as the universe without. Exploring it teaches us that we are not separate from the cosmos. We are the cosmos, condensed and conscious. Thank you for joining me on this intimate 60-minute voyage through the universe within. It has been a privilege to explore the miracle of the human body with you. If this journey changed the way you see yourself, please like this video and subscribe to Nightlight Science Stories. Your support acts as the fuel for our next expedition into the unknown. Share this with someone to remind them how amazing they are. Remember, you carry a universe inside you. Take care of it, listen to it, and marvel at it. You are a walking wonder, a collection of trillions of stories working together to be you. Until our next adventure into the realms of science and mystery, stay curious and stay healthy. This is Nightlight Science Stories signing off.